Good afternoon, how are you? Welcome to the dining room. I'm doing a little bit of houseplant repotting and I thought I'd bring you along for the ride and also to give information to those of you who maybe are thinking about repotting a houseplant but you're not sure how to do it. It's really easy. I think one of the first things to consider is whether the plant is ready to be repotted. I've got 3 here. This one is a Syngonium. Lovely heart-shaped leaves, nice sort of viney growing pattern, it will creep about, beautiful. But I've noticed when it gets to the end of the week, it flops very readily now, it never used to. So I think its roots are getting a little bit big, I'm going to have a look at that in a minute. This one is a gorgeous little prayer plant. Now the leaves on the prayer plant move up and down according to the light levels and the time of day. So at one point these leaves will be up, but they've slowly come down throughout the day. This one's hardly got any compost. It's in the pot that the neighbour that gave it to us potted it into. So it's really desperate. This one, by the way, the Syngonium, I've had for about 3 years. So it's really ready. This is a peace lily that was given to me by a friend at work, and I don't know whether you can see, but it's been growing towards the light, so this side is a little flatter, so I've been turning it round, but it's a bit floppy. It's normally a little bit more upright, and I've noticed it takes quite a bit of water to bring it back up. They do like quite a bit of water, peace lilies. So that I think is ready. You'll also notice this one has moved towards the light. So it's always a good tip to turn them as often as you can so you get more even growth. I've neglected to do that. So I want to look at the roots. So I'm going to just lift this out. It's in a plastic pot in here. In fact, I should put my gloves on because if you do break a stem, the sap can be a little irritating, probably not to my hands. They're hardcore. Anyway, let's see. What do your roots look like? Now bear in mind I watered this earlier, which is why the roots look wet. Okay, that needs to be repotted. Goodness knows how I'm going to get those roots out. Okay, they look okay though. So in terms of size of pots, try not to go too big. This is relatively small and the only one that I can find is this one. So what I would do is just have a look how the size compares once it's in. It's not much of a jump in size, so that should be okay. In the base of the pot, I'm going to pop some what we call crocks, which are bits of old pottery, and I'm going to place them all around the base. This just helps with drainage. And also just to say, I've actually given this pot a really good wash in hot soapy water because it was from outside. It's the only one I've got. I'd like to find another pot to put this into. Whether I've got anything that's suitable, I don't know, but I'll think about that later. We're going to put, I would say, about 1 inch of compost in the base. Maybe a little more than 1 inch. What you can do is pop the pot in just to see if that's enough. Yeah, that should be fine. Absolutely fine. Okay, now to extract this. Obviously being gentle. Let's get rid of this pot first. and give a squeeze. And then gently lift. Hopefully your roots will come with it. Oh, there's a lot of roots in there. Success. Great. Pop it straight in. Perfect. So once you've done that, you're going to need to backfill with compost. So this can be a little bit fiddly, but what I tend to do is hold up some of the leaves, just get a handful, or maybe less than a handful, and just pop it in. Try not to spill it everywhere, which I've just done. Oh well. Just pop it in. And then slowly spread it around. You probably can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just spreading that around in the gap between where the roots are and the edge of the pot. I actually really dislike backfilling things. I find it really fiddly because my hands are probably too big for the job. But take your time. I'm just spreading it around that gap. And then you can turn the plant, lift the leaves and do the other side. Yeah, it is fiddly, it's a fiddly job. Just be gentle. This compost is full of twigs, goodness knows what. Bear in mind, I've actually left, I guess, about an inch or so. Don't know whether you can see that or not. It's very difficult to know whether you can. But I've left an inch or so at the top. Don't fill it completely. Otherwise, when you come to water it, the water's going to run out. Okay. I'm going round the edge to make sure that it is firmed, but to make sure I've actually got all the areas. There's a bit there that needs more. You can feel this with your hands. I think that's fine. Now, there are a couple of dead leaves, so this is the opportunity to pull them out. There we go. There are some leaves that have gone a little bit pale as well. They won't pull off though, I might have to cut those later. It's almost as though it's saying to me, thank you, I needed that. Just give it a little tap. And I think that's done. So I'm going to need to find a plate or something to put this onto and give it a good water in to make sure it settles in. Great, so I'm delighted with that. I think it's going to enjoy that new pot and it will probably put on a load of new growth. They're quite easy to care for, these plants. They do need a dust once in a while, which I do fairly regularly, although I think this one's due. And I'm going to continue with this little prayer plant, which I've just taken out of its pot. It's desperately in need, and it's got some dead leaves, so I'm going to remove those. Poor little thing. These can get quite big. So, onto the peace lily. That should be okay. You can see the size difference. It's not too massive. It's the only one I've got. I haven't got a huge variety of pots. And by the way, these plastic pots, you can pimp them. You can paint them. In fact, Jim, the Lake Effect gardener, he's just done a couple of ideas on a video of how you can improve the look of these plastic pots. Plastic, but useful and reusable. I've got a number of them that I've collected over the years, and I do reuse them. So if you can pimp them and make them even better, then go and check out Jim's video. I'll put a link in. So onto the peace lily. Same drill. Clean pot, washed in hot soapy water, crock in the bottom, just to cover the holes. And of course, the other consideration you've got to make when you're repotting your houseplants is, what am I going to stand the pot on? If you haven't got a pot that this can go into, for this I'm using one of these enamel tin plates. Looks okay. Not perfect, but hey, it'll do. So, we're going to consider the depth. So again, it's probably a good inch of compost in the base. I've got a cloth on the table to stop the mess, to catch the bits of compost. So a good inch or two in the base. We're going to ease the plant out, give it a squeeze. Oh yeah, plenty of good roots in there. It's not too pot bound, but yeah, I think it's ready. Pop it in and then backfill all the way around. I can't believe the amount of bark and twigs that there is in this compost. It is organic and it's peat free, but it's really twiggy. Again, spreading it around, making sure there's no holes, air holes. I'm not pressing it down too firmly, I'm just making sure it's in there. And keep filling until you reach the plant, the top of the plant, making sure you leave a gap for watering so the water doesn't run off. I've made that mistake a few times. Great. I think she's done. Okay. And then, of course, as with all repotting, give them a nice water. Even if you've fed them and watered them already, give them another water to help them settle in and they should be fine. And that's it. 3 houseplants repotted. I think I've got a couple more that need doing. So I'm going to get on with that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. And remember, you can find us on Facebook, our Facebook group Planet Vegetaria, and also Instagram and Twitter as well. So thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Happy houseplant repotting. Bye for now.